And now, it's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. A show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mozette, and here's your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Mozette, and welcome to episode 504 of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show as we discuss the Seattle Seahawks 2017 draft picks. 11 young men fortunate enough to get a call from John Schneider. Let's meet the posse for this episode. First, our news hound is here, of course. That is Shadowhawk. We know him as Will. Hi, Will.
Hello, Moses. How are you?
Oh, doing well. How about yourself, sir?
I am doing well. You know, first day of rookie mini camp. It's not real football. It's kind of a football loaf, but it's better than nothing. So it's fun to see the rookies.
Rookie camp. It's a football loaf. Yummy. Lots of meaty football goodness in a football loaf. Now, you know what you have to do on our 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. You now have to come up with a football loaf recipe.
There you go.
That could be good.
Yeah. That gentleman, of course, is the man that wants to grow up to be Mel Kiper, and that is, of course, Dustin. Hi, Dustin!
I'd be Mel Kiper. I'd like the paycheck. That's fine.
Yeah, that'd be all right. Could you handle the hair?
I don't have a lot of it, so I don't think it'd look quite as good.
Yeah, I'd like to have hair, even his. So
yeah.
Well, speaking of hair, sadly, last second scratch for this evening. Our partner in crime from Merry Old England, Matt, he cannot join us. Last second, yeah, I know. Last second scratch for the CD. He's currently washing the Queen's underwear, so we're going to let him do that. Guys, it's been a while. We want to get started, but before we do, I do want to share a quick story. This happened on the way home from dinner this evening. We had Mama Moses, my mom. We had Mrs. Moses, and we had little Mo and Mosette in the car, and I was driving. We're coming back from dinner, and Mrs. Moses was giving the kids little goofy little puzzles or questions or riddles. And Mosette, who's 15, remind you, got the following. She said, Mosette, she said, what's orange and rhymes with parrot? And Mosette sat for a minute, and she said, raret?
Wow.
And I almost wrecked the car. I started laughing so hard at raret.
It's obviously true.
It's orange and it rhymes with parrot, raret. And she was like, raret? And I'm like, oh, my, 15 years old. So she has a gift for the gab. But speaking of gift for the gab, it is our buddy Michael Bolton. Michael, what you got?
Boys, let's get to it.
Yes, let's get to it. The show is broken into 4 quarters and a half time. We have quarter 1, which is the news. And I get to read Will's rant at the end of that. We'll explain that later. Quarter 2, draft picks, rounds 2 and 3, and a special caption, that picture. At halftime, the best Seahawk themed play-along game on the internet, 12-Man Fan Jam Show, halftime trivia.
Of the world.
Mano y mano, Will and Dustin. Dustin has had quite a good start to the season and is the returning champ.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Quarter 3, draft picks, rounds 4 and 6, and of course, quarter 4, the undrafted free agents, the 7th round picks, and of course, our take on the draft overall. Before we like to start, like, share, subscribe to Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We're starting to do little games. We're going to have some extra caption that pictures on there to play along with. Twitter at Seahawk Positivity, email 12manfanjamshow@gmail.com. Also, check out our special episode, the first 100 episodes, now on Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. All right, let's get to the first quarter and the 12-Man Fan Jam News Report. Yes, it's our own Shadowhawk Will with the news. This 12-Man Fan Jam Show News Report brought to you by the Chicago Bears front office new book, NFL Drafting for Dummies. Yes, stun the NFL world like the Bears did. by making stupid moves and unnecessary trades. It's the Chicago Bears front office new book, NFL Drafting for Dummies. Will, what you got for us?
Well, speaking of stupid moves and unnecessary trades, the Cleveland Browns always come to mind. Although this involves one of their few very good draft picks. And, Moses, you work with kids, and, Dustin and I are getting to a point where, sometimes you bring in the younger employees or whatnot, and it just kind of makes you feel old. Well, Joe Thomas has been in the league for a while. He's 32 years old, which is old in NFL terms, not in real life.
It is.
And one of their new rookies made him feel a little bit old. The Browns recently had a team event this week. The entire rookie class was invited, and so was Joe Thomas. And as Thomas wrote on Twitter, quote, "It was an honor being invited to dinner with the Browns rookies tonight. Funniest moment of the night was when David Njoku asked me if I was a coach. I told him I'm a player coach. Mostly I'll be coaching, but you will see me playing on Sundays." So
Oh, my God.
Thomas is already getting to that point in his career where they're asking if he's the coach.
That is awesome.
Hey, are you here to take... Okay, I'll take 2 beers and a chicken platter. Oh, you're not the waiter. I'm sorry. I thought you were the waiter. Oh, man. Well, no wonder there's rumors about him getting traded. Apparently, they're not big fans of him.
That's hilarious.
Oh,
And
man.
I can completely relate, though, because I get to the point now where with some of the students that we get, some of the military ones in particular, they're, 18, 19 years old. And I've been doing my job now for about 15 years, 16 years, something like that. And so we'll get in conversations about stuff, and I'm like, dude, I've been doing this since you were in diapers, so why don't you just trust me that I know what I'm talking about? It definitely makes you feel old.
Oh, I'll admit, there are times where I have seen someone coming down the hallway. I work at a middle school, so it's not that bad, but we have high school kids that come over and help out or whatever, and there are times where I can't tell if it's a high school student or if it's a teacher, and so I don't say anything, because I'll say, hey, can I help you, or, do you need anything, but I don't know, if they're like a high school student or a teacher.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm just getting old.
One more old story real quick.
The
other day, when I make my kids mow the lawn, we have to move a car so they can get the lawnmower out of the driveway, right?
Yep.
Or through the driveway between the cars. And I keep telling them, I'm like, hey, why don't you just back up the car? It's fine. It's no big deal. And they're 13. They're like, it's illegal. We're not allowed to do it. And I was telling them, I was like, dude, I learned to drive when I was in 5th grade. And so one of my kids goes, yeah, but that was before they had laws.
The 12-man Fan Jam show does not endorse the underage driving of any children for any reason.
That does remind me of a Jeff Foxworthy line, though. If you've ever cut your grass and found a car, you might be a redneck, right?
Yes, poor Thomas, though, 32 years old, already over the hill. We should all be that fortunate, I guess, or unfortunate. Will, what else you got for us?
Well, this one's involves another rookie. It seemed appropriate. And you always run into stories about highly drafted rookies or whatnot who come into the league, wash out, and are completely broke in 5 years.
Yeah.
Buccaneers defensive lineman, and I'm going to butcher the name, I apologize, Stevie Tuikolovatu.
Sorry.
He's not likely to have that problem. He was a 7th-round pick, defensive tackle out of Southern Cal, and he's already shown that he can live on not too much money. During his collegiate career, he transferred from from USC, and for the first 2 months after going to USC, he and his wife stayed in a 2004 Chevy Suburban.
Oh, wow.
This guy's 340 pounds.
Wow.
He and his wife stayed in his SUV after he transferred from Utah to USC, bouncing from beach to beach, pulling the back seat out, piling up blankets and pillows, and hanging shower curtains over the windows to block out the light.
No.
They'd shower in public beach facilities, and his wife bragged about how he could make a grill out of pieces of wood and aluminum foil.
Wow.
He said that he knew he could have stayed with friends in the area, but he didn't want to trouble them. I don't like to bother people, make a hassle, he said. I'm kind of independent. I also understand that when you have struggles, there are also lessons. So, this guy may not be a Seahawk, but I hope he makes it, because he just seems like a good kid.
Yeah, no doubt.
Wow, living in that reminds me of old Kazavinsky's story, living in a car and eating popcorn for a month and a half, but man, that's amazing. I mean,
Reminds
going
me
to
of Chris
college.
Farley.
The van down by the river. The
Yep.
van down by the river.
Exactly.
Well, it's an SUV down by the beach, but close enough.
Yeah, same thing. Just adapted for Cali.
Man, living in an SUV, that could,
When you're nearly 350 pounds.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Hats off to
unbelievable.
him. I hope Stevie. I'll just call him Stevie. I hope Stevie.
Tui Kolavu?
Yeah, whatever you said. I hope that guy. Does well. Whatever your name is, man, we salute you. Been there a little bit. The worst it got for me at college was I was. I always tell this story. I ate mustard and crackers for like 3 days because that's all I had to eat.
Wow.
Yeah, I lived off mustard and crackers for about 3 days, but
I don't think you're truly a college student until you've had condiments for a meal.
yeah, right. Or you go to the store and you got those burritos that were like a quarter. So I would buy like 10 of them for $2.50, and I was set for the week, man. I had burritos all week.
And try very hard not to think about what was actually in those.
No,
Man, no doubt.
I couldn't afford to think what was in them. Only thing I afford to think is go, hey, look, they're a quarter. I can get 10 of these and still have money to get gas to get home. Yay!
College paid off. It taught you math.
Exactly.
And yet I'm still paying for it. Speaking of paying for it, that is usually the end of the first quarter. However, we do have a little thing to take care of from episode 503. If you listen to 503 at the end, Will and I did what we usually do right before the NFL draft, is we have our draft challenge. And Will comes up with a list of Seahawk players he thinks will get drafted, and I come up with a list of who I think the Seahawks will get drafted. And usually I go for the goofy names and the laughs, and Will is much, much, much more thorough and does a better job researching. And we said whoever won would make the other one read a rant of the winner's choosing. Well, this hasn't happened before. We've done this, Will, 3 times, maybe 4. Right?
3 times, yeah.
3 times. I don't think we've ever had a player, have we?
I picked Glowinski 2 years ago.
That's right. You did pick Lewinsky. Well, you hit the jackpot this year because Will, as you see the score here, he got 2 in the round they were supposed to be in. I mean, that is, I mean, hey, kids.
That's impressive.
Moses had a good showing late, though. I mean, with Mike Tyson coming up.
Well, a little bit. Malik McDowell and Shaquille Griffin, right?
Yep.
You got those. You nailed them. And then I got Mike Tyson, which, was my 7th round pick in the 6th round. So I actually got somebody. I was really excited. I actually got a score, which is I've never had happen. Yeah, I've never had never had a score before. And we're 10, ladies and gentlemen. But the point is, Will has given me a rant that he's always threatened he would do if it ever happens. So, okay. Let me prepare myself to read this unrehearsed rant of Will's. Okay. Will, let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you, 12-Man Fan Jam. It's great to be here. You're a marvelous, marvelous show. We love the show. It's a great show. It's great because I'm on the show. And I want to talk to you about the Seahawks draft. Because the media, the losers in the media, they're very dishonest, right? We know this, right? But people always ask me, Donald Trump, about the draft. And no one loves the draft more than I do. I think they did a wonderful job. This draft is going to make Seattle great again. Malik McDowell, good friend of mine, great friend of mine. The defensive backs they drafted in the 3rd and 4th rounds are just terrific people. We're going to create so many interceptions that you'll get sick of all the turnovers. Parrish Cox, you're fired. Then we have the undrafted free agents. I love the undrafted free agents. I think other teams in the NFC West did a horrible job. They should be ashamed of themselves. But no, Seattle did a great job in this draft class. Is going to be huge. And that's the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter. bitches.
Coming up after this show, I'll get rid of this ridiculous Donald Trump invitation that's just absolutely abhorrent. We're going to have a wall. We're going to make the Cardinals pay for it. It's going to protect Russell Wilson. The Rams are going to pay for our draft players. We're going to get all the great players to play for Seattle. You're going to love all the winning coming up. But coming up next quarter, we're going to talk about the draft picks round 2 and 3. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Straight up now, shoot me.
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
Yes, welcome to the second quarter of episode 504 of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. It's time to take a close look at the 2017 Seattle Seahawks second and third round picks. But first, before we go into the draft, it's time for a Caption That Picture. Yeah, we haven't done one of these yet for this season, but Caption That Picture is back, and I could not resist this picture. This is Anderson Cooper of CNN eyerolling, and if you don't know why he's eyerolling, look it up, kids. It's well worth it, but I'm not going to go there. This is not a political show, but the picture of him in mid-eyeroll is absolutely fantastic, and I thought we could do something with this NFL-natured. So, or maybe not NFL-natured, who knows. We'll start with Dustin. Hey, Dustin. Caption that picture.
The face Seahawks fans at draft parties made after the second time the Seahawks traded back in the first round.
He said,
Yep.
the face that... Yeah, okay. That was awesome, man. That was excellent.
Seriously, though, the Seahawks next year need to have their draft party on day 2.
They
No kidding. No kidding. All right, Will. Caption that picture.
You only gave the Seahawks a C- for their draft?
Well, mine is, mine's also football related, both of them. The first one is, ladies and gentlemen, every Bears fan's face when they picked Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
And then, oh, great. Look, even without picks, the media makes Bill Belichick look like a genius again. Because they are all over the Belichick teat, if you pardon the phrase there. All right, so second round, third round, we did trade down again, got a lot more picks than we thought we were going to have, and 2 second rounders, and the first one was Malik McDowell. Will, what do you think about Malik?
Well, obviously there's some risk with this selection, otherwise he wouldn't have been available anywhere near this pick, but you know, if we can get the most out of him, and he's going to be in the Michael Bennett role, playing outside on regular downs and inside on passing down. If this guy plays up to his potential, I mean, we've seen what guys like Calais Campbell can do, have been able to do to us. Can you imagine if we had somebody who's able to do that to another team for a change? Just be a totally disruptive force up the middle. And the guy's tall enough that if he can't get to the quarterback, he can bat down passes. He can just, he could be a real force in the interior of the defensive line. And if he pays off, I think we're going to look back on this and wonder how the hell he was still there at pick number 35.
I certainly hope so. And Dustin, I'm going to let you finish, but before we get there, I want to throw I'm going to let you guys. I want to throw this out real quick. If McDowell lives up to half the hype, you realize we have Clark, McDowell, and Jerron Reed all on rookie contracts for like the next couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead, Dustin. Sorry, didn't mean to steal your thunder.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed that they didn't draft in the first round, and then seeing who they got, I was kind of intrigued by that because the guy's size. He's 6'6", 295. And he was versatile on the defensive line in college in Michigan State. He was interior lineman, held his own pretty well against the run. He was strong at the point of attack, and then he on the edge, he was able to get around guys real quick. He's lean and he's long, so he's got long arms and he's flexible, which is nice. So he can turn the corner real well when he's out on the edge, and so that was pretty impressive. I think he kind of, when I was watching him on the highlights and stuff, it's like, man, he reminds me a lot of a bigger Bruce Irvin, just the way he's built and the way he moves. So it's going to be kind of fun to watch. Hopefully, you get a little more explosion and motor like Curvin has. But just the way he's built, the way he moves, reminded me a lot of that. So I'm hoping to see that from one of our linemen. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it was just, I mean, you guys hit it. I mean, Michael Bennett 2.0 if he works out, and how great would that be? I mean, my goodness. Offensive lineman, Ethan, is it Pachik, I believe? Is that how you pronounce it?
Hosick.
Thank you. A steady guy, right, Will?
Yeah, it's one of those picks that was surprising at the time, but makes a lot more sense when you look at it. It's a bit of a break from what Seattle's been looking for with offensive linemen through the draft of late. He's not an athletic freak, but he is a very competent lineman, has played multiple positions, primarily a center at LSU, but he's, Cable has said, and he was at Cable has said that they're going to start him out at right tackle, compete for that position, and that's where he was at rookie minicamp today. So, good player, very versatile, and gives us a hedge in case we can't re-sign Justin Britt and he goes elsewhere.
Yeah.
We're not back to square one at center if that happens. So, good potential value right away. If nothing else, definite value over the next couple of years.
Yeah, agree. Dustin, steady, right?
Yeah, steady. I think he's one of possibly 2 or 3 replacement players that they drafted this year. Who over the next couple years, we're going to let some of the vets go, and I think he's going to eventually take Justin Britt's place. But they like the versatility the guy has. He spent most of his time at center, 27 games out of his 37 starts in college, and then he played little right guard, little right tackle. But I think he's going to just go wherever they need him to this year, and then he's going to fill in at center next year when Britt leaves. And I don't know that it's like Will was saying, that they can't sign Britt in case they can't sign him. I think that's the plan, is to let Britt go and let this guy jump in there and take over.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that happens.
Yeah.
4 third round picks. Shaquille Griffin. Will?
This is a kid I really liked going into the draft. Obviously I put him on my mock draft, but big guy, really fast, athletic, a lot of potential there. You look at his college tape, and I thought Rob Staten over at Seahawks Draft Blog had the best take on it. You watch the college tape and you wonder, what the hell are these coaches doing? Because some of the things they were having him doing, like on the press coverage, they were telling him to press and push the receiver back towards the middle of the field, which is exactly the opposite. You want to push him towards the sideline and give him
because that's like another defender. It's almost a double team at that point.
Right. So, he's got a lot to learn, and he's coming in. We're going to see him right away as a gunner on special teams. Hopefully he can pick up the cornerback position quickly, but I like this kid. I like his potential. And, again, if not this year, I think by next year he's going to be fun to watch in the secondary.
Fantastic, and a great story. He probably could have played at Florida or a bigger school, but because of his twin brother, he wanted to play where his twin brother, who has a missing hand, could play. And if I remember right, his brother, didn't he lead the conference in sacks or something?
Yeah, he was their conference's player of the year, I think. Yeah, last year.
So, and he's coming out next year because he redshirted. So you might see him get drafted with one hand, right, Dustin?
That'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about this kid the most is how aggressive he is when he tackles. This dude explodes through people, and it looks like he loves the contact, which is fits right in with the Legion of Boom. That was my biggest takeaway from him.
That's
it's gonna be fun to watch him hit people.
It will be, and then Delano Hill from Michigan. Well,
that's another guy who loves to tackle. He's not the big hitter that Cam Chancellor is, but he's a very solid, very sure tackler, and bit of a tweener at this. Doesn't fit perfectly at, say, a free safety or strong safety or even linebacker. So I think that we're going to see him a bit in the I was talking on our last show about Seattle moving to more of a 4-2-5 with the big nickel concept, and he seems like he'd be a good fit for that position with Bradley McDougald. So this kid's going to be another fun one to watch, but he's pretty fast, he's a good tackler, and I think if you get him in the middle of the field near the line of scrimmage, he could do a lot of good.
Yeah, excellent. Dustin, your thoughts?
He's got some decent size, especially if he ends up being some sort of corner at 6'1". He's 216, and he has speed, like Will was saying, 4.47, 40-yard dash. When I was watching him, the first thing I was thinking is, oh, this dude's going to be a special teams guy for us. He's going to be a good special teams guy for us. I imagine that's where we're going to see him most of the time the first year or two is out there making plays on special teams. But if he gets a chance to get on the field, he'll be fun to watch too.
Yeah, he will.
In the actual defense, I mean.
Fun to watch if he's in a Seahawk uniform, you should say.
Well,
Yeah.
Nazir Jones is a guy who had something that caused him where he couldn't stand in high school, and then here he is playing defensive end, now drafted by the Seahawks in the 3rd round, Will?
Yeah, definitely has the kind of grit that the Seahawks are looking for in their players. I love how enthusiastic he was about being drafted by the Seahawks. He went out and got a whole bunch of Seahawk gear and posed for a picture. That was fun.
Awesome.
That's funny.
So
They're going to give him gear.
I may or may not have bought everything in the store Seahawks. Yep. That was great.
That was cool. He's not the interior pass rusher, but he's a real Tony McDaniel type. Real solid, real dependable run stuffer. So I think we're going to see him in the mix right away on in the rotation on running downs, and he's got enough potential that I don't think he's ever going to be, what we hope Malik McDowell is going to be eventually. But he's the kind of guy who could get a sack on an early pass play if you're not taking him seriously enough.
Yes.
So, but if nothing else, good run stuffing defensive tackle.
Good. Dustin, your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty much. When I saw him, he looks like a defensive tackle, whereas McDowell looks more like I said, more like a Bruce Irvin type. This dude actually looks like a defensive tackle, and if you watch him out there, he doesn't get really pushed back when he's
no, he doesn't.
Going against that interior lineman. He's really good at holding his spot on the line of scrimmage, and like Will was saying, is run stuffing. So. Yeah, I imagine that's going to be his role too, is get in there and get dirty and help against the run pretty well. He played mostly one technique, I believe, so he might be like a McDaniel or maybe that. He's a guy that I think is another replacement player where I think he's probably going to eventually take over for Ruben.
Yeah, he probably will. And then finally, the 3rd round wrapped up with Mr. Darbo from Michigan. Another amazing story. His parents from Sierra Leone, I believe. Is that right?
Yep.
They were victims of war over there, but a great story. Will, what I saw, I loved his hands.
Yeah, has a habit. He's a bit of a body catcher sometimes, so that's something he's going to need to break at the next level. Has had some trouble against press coverage, but big guy, faster than he looks. Great possession receiver. Would give Russell Wilson a big target over the middle. He's a guy who, if he catches on quickly enough, he's going to give Jermaine. He could potentially give Jermaine Kearse a run for his money as far as playing time is concerned.
That's what I was thinking.
So, yeah, I think this is a guy. I mean, he's got a few bad habits he needs to break, but a lot of potential to be a good, reliable pass catcher.
Good. Dustin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I just wanted to go to the fact checkers really quick, and it's actually pronounced Sierra Leone.
Oh, thank you.
Throw that out there.
We all knew what he meant.
I apologize to Mr. Darbo and his country, Sierra Leone.
Yeah, no
I
worries.
think I took Sierra Leone to prom. I don't remember, but
Nice.
sorry.
Yeah, but she dumped you later. So
She did. All right, that's the 2nd and 3rd round picks. It's almost halftime.
Holy shit, it's halftime!
Yes, coming up, so much more show. Did the Seahawks draft enough players? Did the NFL hold a long enough draft? Is Philadelphia really the city of brotherly love? Yes.
No.
All these answers and more just around the corner. But first, another edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. Coming up next!
Hi, I'm Rosette, and you're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to another edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
Of the world!
The trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves, Will and Dustin, and here are the rules. So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-man Fan Jam Show Trivia Champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia. All right, gentlemen, as you noticed, there's a little change to the rules tonight. There's a little mix-up because this weekend is Mother's Day. So, there is a lifeline, but it does not involve our lovely children, Mosette and Little Mo. No, the people that took this quiz was my own mother, Mama Moses. There's one Mama.
Mama Mo.
Mama Mo. Mama Mo and my wife, Mrs. Moses. If you remember, she got them all right last week. I'm just throwing that out there. So you can ask to hear what they had to say as opposed to the children because it's a Mother's Day special. Now, these questions are about our draft picks, kind of, sort of. And since Dustin won, he can decide if he's odd or even. Dustin, are you odd or even?
Even.
Dustin is even. That makes Will odd.
No surprise.
And, I guess you could say that 2 of these questions are about the draft picks, and one of them is kind of weird. So, but really, they're all kind of weird. So, here we go. All right, Will, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, question 1 is about, of course, second-round pick Malik McDowell. What college team did Malik McDowell have the most tackles against last year? Was it Indiana, Maryland, or Northwestern? And dance! What college team did Malik McDowell have the most tackles against? Indiana, Maryland, or Northwestern?
I'm going to say Northwestern.
He's going to say Northwestern. Any particular reason?
No.
Mrs. Moses said Northwestern. Mama Moses said Maryland. It is Northwestern!
Yay!
All
Nice
right,
guess.
way to go. And Will's on the board. All right, Dustin, here's your first question. It's about Mr. Darbo in Michigan. How many touchdown catches did Darbo have in his last year in Michigan? Was it 5, 6, or 7? How many touchdown passes did Darbo have? 5, 6, or 7? Dance!
Hold on 1 second. I believe it was 7.
Hold on 1 second. Are you Googling?
No,
Are you-
but
are
I had
you
a
checking
scouting
your
report
file?
right in front of me.
Are you building it in a roster?
No.
No, I just read his report a minute ago, and I was double checking to
Oh!
make sure.
So you're researching.
Not really. Nothing more than we did.
Not
for the show.
really. Thank you, President Trump. Well, not exactly.
Yeah.
Define research.
He's making this. He's doing this all on his own, with some exceptions.
Scandal. Scandal on the 12-Man Fan Jam Show trivia. You know the answer.
I did.
Dustin,
Hell, I did too, but just because I remember doing it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you'll
That's what
get
I'm saying.
yours. You just wait a minute. You all think. Just wait. Just wait. These questions don't get easier because you guys kind of cruised through the last one. So I made them a little bit more difficult. Will, this is your really non-football question. It's dedicated to our 4th-round pick, Tedrick Thompson, who went to Colorado. And Colorado's the Buffalo.
Oh, no.
So my question is, what is inside a buffalo hump? Fat, muscle, or water? They all have a hump on their back. What is inside that buffalo hump? Is it filled with fat, filled with muscle, or filled with water? Look that one up.
My hump, my hump, my hump, my hump.
Lovely lady, love.
I didn't even think of that.
Check it out. I was thinking, and I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
That too.
Oh Lord.
I'm gonna go with fat. What the hell?
What the hell? You mean you don't know?
Not so much. No.
He said fat. Mrs. Moses said fat, and she's really on a hot streak when it comes to these questions. Mama Moses said muscle. And guess what? You should have said muscle. Yeah,
Okay.
it's filled with muscle.
So if I'm ever run down by a buffalo with my last moments, I could say, "Hey, do you know that lump on his back is made of muscle?"
Yeah.
Right before you die. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Question
I can think
4.
of worse last words.
Yeah. Google this one, smarty pants. All right. Of course.
Kangaroos can't jump backwards. I bet you didn't know that.
Sixth round pick, Mike Tyson.
All right.
This is his favorite.
Okay, how many knockouts did the fighter Mike Tyson have in his career? 44, 45, or 46? Ha!
Well, I was thinking like 30-something, so I'm going to go with the lowest number, whatever that was.
Which would be 44.
Okay, yeah.
That's what Mrs. Moses said. Mama Moses said 46. You said 44. Yeah. Dustin, 2-1.
Ha!
Take that.
Ouch.
Bill.
Yes,
Your
sir.
fifth question. We drafted a player from David Moore from East Central Oklahoma University, if you remember that.
Which I had never heard of prior to that pick.
Nor had I. And they're the Tigers, if you didn't know that.
Rawr.
But here's the thing. Their tiger has a name. What's the name of the East Central University Tiger mascot? Is it Rory the Tiger? Is it Tigger the Tiger? Or is it Tony the Tiger? What's the name of the East Central University Tiger mascot? Rory, Tigger, or Tony?
I'm going to go with Rory because that's the only one where there's not potential for copyright infringement.
Exactly, yeah.
Wow, very clever. Mama Moses and Mrs. Moses also said that, and they also went that way for the same reason. Yeah, you're all smart. It was Rory the Tiger. So Will is on the board.
It's
Dustin now trying to go.
Eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight.
Oh, Survivor reference.
To be honest, when you said their tiger has a first name, I thought for sure
It's
that was a reference. I thought it was going to be
OSCAR.
Oscar. Yeah.
Oscar the Tiger. I mean, they should call him like Steve. Here comes our tiger, Steve.
Or Stripe.
Brent. Here's our tiger, Brent.
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin the tiger. And Kevin just comes out, hey, what's going on?
What's up,
Got a
guys?
cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Hey, what's up? I'm Kevin the tiger. Roar. Yeah, go ahead. Whatever. All right. All right, Dustin, about to try to go 3 for 3 here. It's about Oklahoma State because Chris Carson, our last pick in the 7th round, was from Oklahoma State. What final AP ranking did Oklahoma State football have last season at the end of the season? Were they 10th, 11th, or 12th? Oklahoma State football, did they finish 10th or 11th or 12th in the AP poll?
To be honest with you, I don't really watch college football other than the playoffs, so I like 12. I like the number 12. I'll go with 12.
Who doesn't like 12?
Yeah.
And it's funny because you said
49er
that.
fans.
Right?
It's funny that you said that because Mama Moses and Mrs. Moses also went with 12. I think the same reasoning that you did. And you also went with 12. They were 11th. Tie score, which means, of course, we'll have the final question will be worth 2 points. And the championship, of course, is a number. And it is time, of course, for the final question. Question. All right, here we go.
Cracks me up every time.
I love it. It is a number, and whoever's closest, without going over, of course, becomes 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia champion for episode 504, and is showered with gifts chosen especially for them. So, here we go. The order is going to be Will first, and then Dustin, because you tied, and Dustin is the returning champ. So, here we go. The question is, in this year's draft, how many players were drafted out of the Big Ten in the 2017 NFL draft? How many players drafted out of the Big Ten in the 2017 NFL Draft. We had what, 3, 4? 1, 2, 3? We had 3. So how many total Big Ten players drafted in the 2017 NFL Draft? Well, it's got to be careful, because you know what Dustin's going to do. He's either going to one above or one below.
Actually, I'm pretty sure I know this already.
Oh! Check out the big
Put the
brains on
notes away,
Dustin.
Dustin.
I don't have any notes on anything like that.
Yeah, really.
Well, I don't know this very well, so I'm going to, I'm going to go full on Douglas Adams here and just say 42.
Douglas Adams, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, folks, if you don't know.
Nice.
All right, Dustin thinks he knows this. How many players were drafted out of the Big Ten in the 2017 NFL Draft?
Wasn't it 15?
Did you say 15?
Yeah.
Okay. So Will has 42. Dustin has 15. The amount of players that were drafted out of the Big Ten in the 2017 NFL Draft were 35.
Oh,
Without going over. He did it again. Dustin is our champion.
I don't know why I thought I knew that. I was way off.
You thought you knew it. You said 15. What's up with that?
I don't know. For some reason, that number just
only
jumped
said
out
32.
like... Yeah. That number, for some reason, I thought I had heard it somewhere.
By the way, Pac-10 had 36, if you want to brag a little bit. You on the West Coast. But that would have been our overtime question. Dustin again. He's just streaking into Season 5. He's a madman. I think that's 3 out of 4.
Streaking like Frank the Tank.
Yeah. That's why we don't video broadcast this show.
That's
okay,
right.
Yeah.
We don't want to see him streaking.
You don't want to do that.
Oh, my God. Wow. Another crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia. We'll be right back. Of the world. We'll be back for the second half of the show after this quick station identification. Skilo, take us out.
Welcome to merry old England, packed full of castles, tea, crumpets, and Yorkshire pudding. I can't think of a single place in the world I would rather be right now.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Seahawks!
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
Welcome to the third quarter of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We've been pushing it and whipping it and flipping it, and now we're going to talk about the draft picks.
We put our thing down, flipped it, and reversed it.
We're going to talk about the draft picks. The Seahawks made in round 4 and 6. There they are in all their glory. Round 4, Tedrick Thompson, another defensive back out of Colorado. Will, your thoughts?
Well, this was a guy I kind of forgot about after the combine because he didn't test very well. But prior to that, just looking at the body of work that he did at Colorado, I mean, he led college football with 23 pass breakups last year. Big safety, rangy, not quite Earl Thomas level, but quick enough and instincts are good enough that he just seems to be in the right place at the right time. Got a lot of interceptions at Colorado. This kid, I'm going to feel if Earl Thomas, heaven forbid, I don't ever want to see Thomas injured again for the rest of his life. But if for some reason he does have to come out of the game at all, I feel pretty good about Tedrick Thompson coming in relief for Thomas, more so than the guys we had last year, that's for sure.
A lot of people pinning this as a mid-round steal, and Dustin, when I looked at the film, I went, wow. This one is the one I kind of wowed about because I'm like, we got him in the 4th round, and then the next day, all the mid-round steals, they were talking about Tedrick Thompson. What are your thoughts on him?
He was really impressive. He had 23 passes defended last year, 16 breakups, 7 interceptions. And the thing that I thought was really impressive about him, which kind of makes me wonder if Tyler Lockett's not doing so well, if he might step into this role. But he's impressive with the ball in the open field. You watch him intercept the ball, and he gains yards afterwards. That dude makes things happen. He has really good vision. He's able to cut back. He sets up his blockers and uses them. So that really impressed me about the kid. And he was a wide receiver in high school too. So he's got some pretty decent hands, and he's got some ball skills, man. He's going to be an exciting player to watch, I think.
We got a couple of those guys, don't we? A couple guys that were a guy that was a defensive back that was a receiver in college and flipped over, and Richard Sherman. That worked out pretty well. And that's what I thought too. When I saw he was a receiver, I'm like, oh well, we've had some luck with those, so I'm okay. I like this pick a lot, actually.
Yeah, he's got good instincts too.
Yeah, he does. And then of course the first 6th round pick was Mike Tyson, fresh out of his time in Vegas. No.
During breaks from hangover movies, he'll be playing for the Seahawks.
He was unstoppable.
Impregnable.
He was impregnable. Well, what do you know about Mike Tyson, the football player from Cincinnati?
Well, it's interesting. You look at his size and speed and athletic ability. He's actually a pretty close comparison to a cornerback out of Florida that went in the 2nd round, Quincy Wilson. So when you think about that, it makes sense that Seattle would want to try him at cornerback because that fits their profile of what they're looking for at corners.
Yeah.
Hard hitter, very aggressive, has good instincts. It's not the greatest athlete, and you always wonder anytime you take a guy who's been a safety and try to turn him into a cornerback at this level. So he's going to have a pretty steep learning curve, but I wouldn't sleep on this guy. This has some long-term potential.
He does. Dustin?
Kind of a funny story. When during the draft, it was my father's or my father-in-law's birthday. We were all up at the science thing at Seattle Center, and I remember, as I do when Seahawks things are going on and I'm with my family, I had my headphones on and I was listening to the draft.
Like you are with your family, you were totally ignoring them.
Yeah. So
of course.
Yeah. So we were walking through this one place there, and it was actually this like butterfly sanctuary. So we're walking through all these butterflies.
Oh, please tell me you didn't step on one of them while you were listening.
I did not know. But I had an interview with this kid, and he sounded pretty interesting. I liked his personality, and I liked his mentality. He sounded like he was ready to go, and the way he was answering the questions, the way he was talking about things, really impressed me. And I think it's going to be fun to watch him play. Something I liked about him is the way he tackles. He puts his weight on a guy, not necessarily his shoulder pads, but his chest. So I don't think he's somebody you have to worry about with concussions because he's not going to be face first into people. But he gets his chest on people and wraps up like we're teaching our young players to do. Yeah. And he puts his weight on him, drags him down to the ground pretty quick. So I don't think people are going to get, if they make catches on him, they're not going to get far afterwards. You're not going to have to worry about yards after the catch if he's defending them, which is pretty cool.
I think it's cool if Mike Tyson now becomes a Seahawk fan because of this, because that would just be awesome.
It would be pretty
honestly,
awesome.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. And then, of course, the other 6th round pick, Justin Senior, offensive tackle at Mississippi State, another big body for the offensive line, Will.
Well, this is another offensive line pick that really didn't fit Seattle's usual MO, because usually in the late rounds they go for the athletic freaks, which he's not. Big, tough, smart guy. Played mostly right tackle at Mississippi State, but is a good enough pass blocker, has been at times anyway, that they're trying him out at left tackle to begin with. So, fingers crossed there.
Yeah.
He had a rough Senior Bowl week. First day of practice, he got beat repeatedly. Got better as the week went on, but it was interesting to listen to John Schneider talk about him in the press conference. He went up from 295 pounds as a junior to 330 pounds.
Woo!
After his senior year. And Schneider said basically that he has to, quote, decide whether he wants to be a football player or not. So it's another guy who, a lot of potential.
Interesting.
It's kind of, he's going to go as far as he wants to go, basically.
Yeah.
And if he shows up in shape and busts his butt, he may not have a roster spot this year, but, practice squad guy, maybe 2018, who knows?
Yeah. Who knows, Dustin?
To be honest, I don't know a whole lot about this guy. When Will just said he went up to 331 pounds, I was like, man, that's a red flag. Either he's not putting in work or he's using steroids. That's a huge weight jump. Sounds like it's more the latter as far as his weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't have a lot on this guy. I
Yeah.
haven't had a chance to see too much about him.
He was actually, before that way, he was Justin Jr., and then they changed him to... Right. All right. All right.
Now his name's been legally changed. He's Justin Rookie.
Justin Undergrad. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Nice. Now he's going to be Justin Rookie. Yeah, and he'll be Justin Veteran.
Just another rookie. So.
Just another rookie. Well, that was just another third quarter.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up in the fourth, we're going to talk 7th round, undrafted rookies, talk about the draft overall. Remember, you're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, registering for the draft because there was one. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, everybody. This is Statsman Mark. And when I'm not listening to Charo's greatest hits on 8-track tape, I'm listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Oh, yes, it's the fourth and final quarter of episode of 12-Man Fan Jam Show, episode 504. In this quarter, we're going to talk about 7th round picks and the undrafted free agents. First, to finish up our draft, we had 2 7th-round picks, David Moore and Chris Carson. Will, your thoughts on either David Moore or Chris Carson?
Well, both these guys fit the physical profile of what Seattle's looking for. I mean, Moore is 6'2", 225, and still runs 40 in 4.5 seconds, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Chris Carson is 6 foot nothing, 220 pounds. Developed into a real power back. I mean, he hits people, just loves running into them. Good pass catcher out of the backfield, has never fumbled at the collegiate level, which is nice.
Nice.
And, he's coming from Division II levels, so it's going to be a step up. But you just look at him on the field. It was funny because I was listening to 710 Cairo this morning, and G. Scott, one of the morning show guys who's on with John Clayton, saying that he was looking at the rookies. Man, that David Moore is cut. I mean, he is just... Yeah, so he's in good shape. He's not Justin Sr.
Very nice. Dustin, your thoughts on either of these guys, Moore and Carson?
I like Moore's size, 6'1", 219, and speed at that size, 4.42. So, other than that, I don't have a lot about him. I've never seen him play, but yeah, I like his size. I like that. Yeah, that's about it, man.
Well, when it came to Carson, I'm going to say this right now. We got a lot of running backs, and there's quite a log jam at running back. But I'm going to put a star by Carson. I think Carson's going to make this team. I saw him run at Oklahoma State. I like the way he runs. I like his size. I think he's NFL running back material. And I think that somebody is going to get a surprising pink slip at the end of training camp because Carson is going to wheedle his way either onto the practice squad or onto the starting squad as a 3rd, 4th running back. But I like this kid a lot, so I was very excited to see that pick.
Well, I tell you what, I think isn't going to be there. That's fine.
Yeah, Alex Collins, I think, is going to have to show something in camp and preseason, or he's on the short list for people who could be bounced.
Yeah, I agree. Undrafted free agents. There's your list. As of today, they were all signed. Flowers for Algernon Brown is a great nickname. You guys remember the Ruse shoes? There's Jordan Ruse, the guard from Purdue. Do you remember the Ruse? Did you ever have Ruse? That's probably before your time. There were tennis shoes called Ruse. No, they were called Ruse, R-O-O-S, and there were these shoes. And there's a picture of them. I got a picture of them up. I had a pair.
I know them. Yeah, I do know them.
Yeah, they got like the little pocket on the side of the shoe.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah, so you could put and I would put like a quarter in there just because it was there, right? Like I had no reason to put a quarter in my shoe, but there it was, right? Or people, oh, you could put your keys in there. No, they weren't that big. I knew people would put like their house key in there and then they would lose it during the day because it would pop out of that really weak pocket.
Yeah.
But so I remember Ruse. And then of course, guys, the best part about the undrafted free agents, and I'll ask you what you really think here in a minute, but when you've got Usher on your team,
Peace up.
Yeah.
A-Town down.
Take down down.
That's right, baby.
Yeah.
We got Usher.
Dude's a
Usher
great
sit
dancer.
down. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And you got Usher
Little
in
John
town.
got the beat to make the booty go. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Listen
Actually-
to Will.
I have a cool story about not the real Usher, but the famous Usher. Friend of mine was stuck on the Canadian border. Had a little kid with her, and all just big old traffic jam. This dude's walking around, just gets out of his car. He's walking around, comes over and talks to him because the kid was, just kind of having fun, a cute little kid. And it turned out to be Usher, and she
That's
knew
cool.
who he was. Yeah.
Nice.
And she's like, "Can we get an autograph?" And he's like, "Sure." Can I autograph his belly? So he autographed the toddler's belly,
Weird.
and then he walks away.
That's
And
awkward.
her mom was there, and her mom's like, "What's an Usher?"
Well, guys, we can thank Usher. Also, we can thank Usher for Justin Bieber. So,
Yeah, there is that.
But Nick Usher, linebacker from UTEP, so that's pretty cool that there's an Usher on this team. There's Flowers for Algernon Brown. There's some good nicknames here. But, Will, is there any of these guys that you look at that you say is a really good pickup for us from unsigned free agents?
Well, Jordan Roos, the kid out of Purdue, no truth to the rumor that there are any pockets in his shoes, but he was one of the few good players on a bad Purdue team. Wasn't invited to the Combine, but put together really good numbers at Purdue's Pro Day. And Seattle thought enough about him that they gave him $20,000 guaranteed, which, for an undrafted free agent is pretty good. So it sounds like he's going to be in the mix at the, competing for left guard position. Well, and who knows? Stranger things have happened. I mean, we started a guy who had no hardly any experience whatsoever last year. So why not an undrafted free agent?
If you're a young unsigned free agent guard and Seattle comes to your door, you've got a chance to start from day one.
Absolutely.
So that would intrigue me too. What about you, Dustin?
I think if you hadn't played football in the last couple of years and Seattle comes to your door and you're the size of a guard, you have a good chance to start because that's just how they do things.
Well said.
So, yeah. But the guy that kind of intrigues me the most, I think, is like the guy you mentioned, Algernon Brown from BYU.
Yeah.
250 pounds, 6'1", fullback. His first 3 years he played running back. The dude can catch the ball out of the backfield, and at 250 pounds, he's still running a 4.63. So he's kind of got the versatility at fullback to be able to do things the Seahawks like. And Marcel Reese isn't back as of today, so we'll see.
Right.
And I kind of like this guy. If he comes in and plays fullback, unless they're going to have Eddie Lacy play fullback at 250, I'd like to kind of see what this guy can do for us.
I agree with you there. Also, I know Will had mentioned the tight ends. We have only one signed through next year. Hayden Plink from UTEP is important, and I also think the quarterback Skylar Howard. We need a quarterback to come in here and challenge our backup Boykin for sure. Boykin. Yeah, absolutely. So, guys, overall the draft. Will, something that you thought maybe you were disappointed in, and an overall grade.
Something I thought we're disappointed in. Well, looking back, it makes sense that since this was such a heavy, such a deep draft for defensive backs, it makes sense that they would want to target other positions first. Because obviously I think they got really good value at defensive back in the 3rd and 4th rounds. But it was just kind of a shame. Some of the guys that we had talked about a lot leading up to the draft, Kevin King, Buda Baker, Obi Melifonwu.
I was really hoping for Obi. That'd have been a fun one.
Guys like that. Just not getting any of those guys. And I understand. And obviously they're not going to draft everyone that we think they should, but it would have been nice to see one of those guys with one of our early picks. But I like McDowell's potential. I love our 3rd round picks. I think this is one of our better drafts in a while. Schneider was saying that 6 out of their first 7 picks had 2nd round grades or higher.
Wow.
So considering 5 out of our first 7 picks were in the 3rd and 4th rounds. That's pretty impressive.
That's pretty impressive. What grade would you give it, Will?
Well, technically, I'd give it an incomplete since we don't know how these guys are going to turn out. But,
Oh, what a cop out!
yeah. But you know what? I'll give it a B+ for now. But
All right. B+ for now. Good deal. Dustin, what
I think
about
it's
you?
got potential to be really good, but for now, I'll give it a B+.
Fair enough. Dustin, grade and something that you were maybe hoping to see that didn't happen.
Well, I wasn't somebody that thought we had a lot of depth at linebacker, and I was hoping to see some more linebacker issues addressed, which I don't believe was addressed at all, and so that was disappointing to me. But overall grade, I don't know, man. Like I said, that completely ignoring linebackers was bad. I think we had some chances early on at some quality players like some of the DBs from UW or a couple of the linemen that were there available in the late first round would have been nice too. So I'm going to give him a C+ for now, but it's lame. It's kind of weird because the Seahawks and the way they do things, nobody can ever grade them properly. I mean, this might be an A++ draft.
You can't.
We don't know yet.
You don't know yet. That's right.
Yeah. And I want to add for the record, one other thing that disappointed me is I hate the Cardinals because I love Hassan Reddick and I love Budda Baker, and they both went to Arizona, and that just sucks.
I agree with that. Jose Rodriguez, he wrote me and he said he thought McDowell pick is either going to be boom or bust. He said, I have faith that the vets in that locker room like Bennett, Thomas, and Wagner can keep him in check. He said, I expect Shaq Griffin to start until Shed gets back, and I really like Darboh and Thompson. He's given the draft a B. I'm going to give it a B+. The one thing I was mildly disappointed in is, like I said, I would have liked to see them give somebody to challenge Boykin a little bit. Maybe a 4th or 5th round pick on a backup quarterback. Somebody, there were some decent backups out there. We don't need a world beater, but there were some decent backups. Of that kid from Pittsburgh, I thought we had a chance at him in the 4th and 5th round or whatever. And he just kind of hung around. I thought, man, this is the time to get him. You got like 2 or 3 picks. But that being said, the bottom line for me is the last 6 or 7 years, it's obvious these guys know what they're doing, and Schneider and Carroll. It's obvious they know what they're doing. They put together a winning team. Have unprecedented success in our era in Seahawk football. And so I'm willing to do whatever they draft. I'm more than okay with. But that's kind of where I was on the draft. And that's kind of where we are on the show. So
the golden era?
We're there. Yeah.
So what grade would you give this show, Moses?
I'm not sure about that. That's an incomplete.
What were you disappointed about?
I was disappointed that, I don't know. I was disappointed by Donald Trump.
I was disappointed in Matt not showing up again.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he'll come to
that
the
guy.
next one. It looks like it's time to bring another wonderful and amazing 12-man Fan Jam show to a sad close. We're so glad you decided to waste some time with us. We certainly hope you laughed a little and maybe you learned a little something along the way. What did we learn? Well, we learned Will likes football loaf, whatever the hell that is. We learned that Dustin likes them long and lean, which I found rather disturbing. We discovered that Moses likes you to flip it quietler. And we all like to whip it, push it, and flip it. So, on behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, who's not here, wherever he may be, our Newshound Shadowhawk Will, who is here, Statsman Mark, wherever he may be, Dustin as the Beaver, Roger Goodell, Mosette, Little Mo, Jerry Jones, John Schneider, Buddy Hackett, Sheila McRae, Art Carney. Good night, everybody, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Don't ever make me do Donald Trump again. I mean, honestly.
Okay.
Wow.
That was kind of fun. That wasn't as bad as you thought it was, man. When you go back and listen to it, you might be impressed.